And we are back. It's been a minute since I made a video. Life has been crazy, but we are back better than ever. I feel like I do this message probably a little too many times, but hopefully this summer we can have a consistent uploading, get some content out there, specifically with the WNBA season starting. I'm hoping to talk a lot about this, which I'm going to start today. I wanted to make a video last week regarding the whole roster situations of the WNBA and kind of do a preview into the season. But unfortunately, I got sick, so I couldn't make that video. So today, we're kind of going to do like multiple videos in one. We're going to talk about the roster situations, which has been a big story across the WNBA. We're going to talk about the first week of WNBA basketball and how that went. And we're going to talk about what I'm seeing from certain teams and how I think things will pan out, or how I think they're starting to pan out. So yeah, let's get right into it. So when you look at the issue of the roster situation in the WNBA, you immediately get pointed to this past draft class, the 2023 WNBA draft, and you had names up and down the board. You had Bree Beal going in the late second round. You had girls who had great college careers all through that draft, rounds 1 through 3. You looked at a lot of them and say, hey, they could really do something for these teams that are taking them. And then the offseason rolls in, and everything's very fast-paced, and everything is going by super, super quick. And then we start seeing a bunch of teams start waiving, releasing all these rookies that we thought would be a huge gain for these teams, and it was really, really confusing. I think it just like a very small percentage of this draft class actually signed with the team that drafted them. Just an absurd amount. We had first rounders get released, which is unheard of. Like in the NBA, that doesn't happen. That doesn't happen. If you're picked in the first round, you're staying on the team, whether you're going to be in their developmental program for a bit, their G League, or you're on their roster. They will find a spot for you because they are investing a lot in you. First round picks in the WNBA should be, in theory, more valuable because there's less of them. There's less opportunities. Just more players coming in, and you get to pick from a bigger pool in a smaller portion, so you can really get really good players. I pick like 12 or pick 8. It's not just like the first 5 and then you're done, because there's only 12 teams. So it's like these picks should be extremely valuable. They're not being treated as such because if you look at this list, this is just a few. Number 11 pick, Abby Myers, waived. Number 17, LaDasia Williams from LSU, waived. The number 20 pick, Elena Chineka. Number 22, Alexis Morris. Number 24, Bree Beal. 26, Monica Shizano. Number 27, Destiny Harden. Just like big names, big performers in the NCAA tournament, and you're seeing them get waived, and it's like, what's going on? You got 12 teams in the NBA. There's like 30. There's 30. You have only 12 roster spots. NBA is 15, right? So you already see a distinction of less spots, less opportunities. So it's harder. It is harder to make this league. So you have people that you think is a shoo-in, would be a shoo-in to make a team, isn't making a team. And the discourse on Twitter, for example, has been a little rough because, there's been shock in this. There's been some bitterness from players, from fans. There's a specific tweet. I'll probably have it up. It was from Women's Hoops, which a good page. I'm not here to attack what they're saying, but I just want to point out what they said here. So they say expansion is needed. However, when there's only 144 spots, we have to be realistic. The gap between being a great NCAA player and a good enough WNBA player is large. You have a few that come in ready, but teams don't have enough time to try and develop. They need you to be ready now. And in theory, it's correct. But to say that we have to be realistic when what should be realistic, we have to think of what should be realistic. That's important. What should be realistic is that why would you expect a college player to come into a professional league of better athletes, everyone's at the top tier, and be ready to go? That's unreasonable. Part of coming into an organization is being developed, being trained. That's why the coaches are there, to train you up. If you were ready and just ready to go, what's the point of coaches? What's the point of practice if you're just ready to go? You need time to develop, or what's going to happen is the league's going to bottom out. Because if you keep relying on players that are ready to go, there's a limit on that, right? There's an age limit on that. Players that are ready to go are going to age out. It's not going to be enough because you're taking away from a large percentage of the pool and going to a very, very small amount. It's unrealistic to have those expectations on a player. So things have to change, right? I don't even know why it's a question why you don't have 12 roster spots. I know when you talk about how much these players are getting paid, it's not great. So you think maybe there's not this money to go around. Well, if the cap space is super low, so you need owners to get together and say we need to expand this cap space. We need to bring in more money to this league to allow for more roster spots. And you see what's happening with bringing in revenue, putting more games out, having more national TV games. It's helping a huge amount in bringing people. We had 1 million people watch the Phoenix Mercury LA Sparks game the other night. And in the East Coast, it's like midnight. I'm watching that game. Everyone's watching that game because it's a big deal. These games are a big deal. And if we do this, we can make enough to be able to expand this league. And I'm not even talking about like league expansion yet. I'm talking about having 3 more seats at a table. Answers are right in front of our face, and then you have people getting real nasty about it. You know, Alexis Morris was one of the top players in college. She is a extremely talented player, and she got waived, just like a lot of other players. And she let her emotions out. Maybe she doesn't say things that you probably should when talking about how if you're 30 and up, maybe you should, not be in the league anymore because we need our chance. And it's like you can say, oh, that's disrespectful, etc. And it's like, sure, okay, I'll give you, maybe it's disrespectful. But we have people saying you have to be ready or you're gone. Or if you're not ready, you don't have a spot in the league. Like, we have extremes of both happening, right? And neither should be the case. There should be room for both. So to just absolutely attack Alexis Morris when we have the exact opposite, we have polar opposites things happening at the same time, it's like you gotta allow something to give. You gotta allow some frustration to come out. You have to. It's not fair to not allow people to express that because you think it's disrespectful or whatever, because this is real. Like, this is her life. This is how she wants to make money, how she wants to make a living. And she can't do that because she's told you're not allowed to develop in a league with unrealistic and unfair expectations. Now we have rules where you can't, like, you have to pick and choose whether to play abroad or play here, and it's like, it's just limiting everything. And you can't limit stuff when everything's already limited, you know? That's my rant on that. I'm not sure 100% that made sense, but, I could go on all day, but I want to get into some live hoops that are happening this week, and how great the opening week of the WNBA was. So yeah, I think first I'm not gonna go through each game because there's a lot of games. Obviously, I just want to go over a few teams and kind of what because I've watched quite a bit of basketball this week. Taking in a bunch of these WNBA games. If there's a game on and I'm home and I'm not doing anything, I'm watching. I want to talk about. Let's talk about the super teams first. The 1A and 1B. Let's talk about the New York Liberty. Just got Stewie. Just got Jonquil Jones. The hype, right? This was everyone was saying this is the team. Championships need to happen here, you know. And the first game they got kind of blown out by the Washington Mystics. A good team, but like if you're looking on paper, New York should either at least make it close, like at least like not getting blown out. Come on now. And then they blew out the Fever when Stewie dropped 45 in a game. The initial kind of reaction I'm getting from this, and I made a tweet about this from quoting a tweet talking about your hot takes, and this could be kind of inaccurate because, again, 2 games, very small sample size. But the first game, there was no continuity, and they played a good team, and they got blown out because there was no flow. There was no flow, right? And then they play a young team, not a great team yet, a team that has promise in the future, but right now it's not the time yet. And they blow them out because the best player in the league who's on that team, one of the best players in the league, Breonna Stewart, explodes for 45. So yeah, you're gonna win that game. And then the other players kind of sunk. It's the other box score numbers that aren't popping out to you, even watching the games. The what's happening, their contributions aren't really popping out to you. It's just get the ball to Stewie, do her thing. And until you figure it out, how to play together, it's not a terrible way to go. Like, okay, Stewie, you go for 45 today. Jonquil, you're going to get 20 and 21 game. Sabrina, one game's going to get 31. It's like, Courtney Vandersloot's going to get 10 assists, even though one game, just hoping that happens, even though it hasn't looked great so far, as far as her fit there. In the regular season, in the beginning, it'll probably work. You'll win some games. But when you get into the thick of it and get to games you really need to win and get to playoff series, it's really not good. Maybe not really not good, but it's problematic. And we've seen kind of an example of what this could be when if you look at the NBA, the Boston Celtics. Yeah, they beat the Sixers, who was having their own continuity problems, having people show up one night and then not show up the other, and then, and now you see them against Miami, and they're about to lose that series. They're down 3-1 right now, and you just look at their 2 stars, and it's if you look at the play, there are good stretches or when one of those players are going absolutely nuts. It's when Jason Tatum is hitting a million shots. When Jason Tatum can't miss, you can't, right? You can't beat him. When Jaylen Brown can't miss, you can't beat him. But when they're both struggling or they're both having mad games, they're not going to win because it's all ISO. It's all, shoot, shoot. Just everyone go out, let me cook. And then you have Al Horford bricking shots, and you have Malcolm Brogdon, who was hot. He's bricking shots. You have Marcus Smart, who hits shots sometimes, but then he's bricking shots. And then you just are not good, right? It's not sustainable. And I think that's what you could see here in New York. I think that's a very real possibility of what could happen if they don't figure out a way to play together. And again, this is 2 games I'm going off of. Not a large sample size at all. So they could, next game, they could all bounce back, and everyone has like everyone's balanced from top to bottom. Everyone's contributing, and they're doing just well-rounded wins. That could change, but right now I'm not seeing that, and it concerns me when talking about how far you can go. Because yes, a good strategy in basketball is to pile as much talent as you can on one team. But if the talent don't work together, there's only so much the talent can do. Now, on the other hand, we have the Las Vegas Aces, who have shown, I think they played like 1 game. No, yeah, one. It was just the Storm, right? They definitely only played the Storm, right? Yeah, they only played the Storm. They play tomorrow against the Sparks. I'm really excited for that game. That might be today's game, depending on when this comes out. But for me, it's tomorrow. They blew out the Storm again. Storm is not a very good team. They lost a lot of players, but they blew them out, right? And that game, it's extreme. Like if you're just looking at the box score, extremely balanced. Like 1 through whatever, they're putting up their points. Asia Wilson has her double-double. Candace Parker has her points, has her rebounds, has her contribution. Kelsey Plum doing her thing, right? Chelsea Gray doing her thing. It's like you have everyone contributing, and now they're not a brand new team, right? They've won a championship before. They're built to play together. There's added Candace Parker, but you're seeing how a team like that, it's built more to help build off of each other. Now, they also loaded a bunch of talent up on one roster. That is very true too, but it was more gradual than get everyone at one time and have them, figure it out. Especially with how short the offseason is, it's rough to do that. And we're seeing that with the Liberty. Now, this could turn around. Maybe will turn around, but we'll see. I'll be very interested to see how they progress over the next few games. Very interested. I want to talk about my Chicago Sky. They started 2-0. They're playing just extremely aggressive, good basketball. Courtney Williams is looking like a really nice pickup. She can just hit any mid-range shot. She's hitting the 3 too, which is really nice. Kalea Copper is doing her thing. She's gonna take so many shots a game. She's gonna dominate, and she's been dominating. She had 20 the one game, 15 the next game. Just the force. She's nearly unstoppable at the rim. She's got the jump shot. She's a full package when it comes to an offensive threat. Haven't seen much from Marina Mabry yet. She had a solid first game, was out the second game. So I'm excited to see the progression from her. The news that came out recently was that Izzy Harrison is probably going to be out maybe this season because she tore her meniscus, and that's rough. Harrison is a really good player. You're talking about a big that can stretch the floor, that can dominate the board, the glass, but also stretch the floor a little bit. Just super talented, and you're not gonna have her. And now Elizabeth Williams has been doing a great job being that big, who's just getting those second chance points, really blocking shots. Oh my goodness, the amount of blocks she gets a game is insane. And then you're gonna get Ruthie back eventually. Hopefully soon. however long her leave lasts. So yeah, it's like the injury that's a blow to like the ceiling, you think, but like you can still pull off a solid season, especially how the team is playing now. They haven't been beating like scrubs; they've been beating good teams. So it all really depends on how they play together, and the new look Sky have been looking real good. I think the last team I want to talk about, and then I'll finish up. The Minnesota Lynx. Um, they're 0-2, but I've liked what I've, you know, they played Atlanta last night, and they were up 19 points at one point, 17 in the third quarter, and they blew the lead. It was a large blown lead in franchise history, and they have scores, right? They've absolute scores. If I'm still Nafisa Collier, for example, Caleb McBride just making shots. Diamond Miller looks really good. Um, she's the second overall pick, and the talent is there. Like they're making shots. They can score a lot of points, but there's no pace, and I think that's when you need someone to just be a point guard, settle it down, set the pace, get the ball to your scorers, and then go from there. They didn't have a pace, so they played sloppy. They played absolutely sloppy, and they choked. I think if you get someone who can just game manage, just doesn't even have to be like a superstar, game manage, I think this team is a lot better than they are right now. And I just think it's interesting. I don't have too much to say about them, but I really wanted to talk about that because you see the talent, you see how much they can fill it up, but then you also see how sloppy it can be. So it'll be interesting. I'm super interested to continue to watch these games, see how these teams grow. I'm learning. This is my first time. This is my first season. This is my third WNBA season being like invested. But this is like my first time being able to watch every game and just kind of taking in as much as I can. And I'm learning a lot. I'm really enjoying it. If you're not watching the WNBA, like actively, I encourage you to. It's super fun. The games are fast paced. They're shorter than NBA games. So if it's not as much of a time commitment, and it's an easy watch. It's an easy, fun watch. So I really encourage it. I look forward to watching the rest of the season, and I'll be back with more videos on the WNBA and more, hopefully. All right, peace out.